stay just one game back of the undefeated Steelers for the top seed in the AFC. Joe Burrow shares a division with the Steelers. He shared on social media yesterday that his season is over. Thanks for all the love. Can't get rid of me that easy. See you next year. He suffered a gruesome left knee injury. If you missed it, it was bad enough that they did not replay it on the CBS broadcast. That's how bad it was. We'll get into what it all means short and long term for the Bengals here in 1 minute. And the Lakers are finalizing a 2-year deal with Marc Gasol. Got the other Gasol. How? Bring in Mark. They've also added Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, and Wesley Matthews. They've parted ways with Rajon Rondo, Superman Dwight Howard, and Danny Green. And SportsCenter is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Look, we all accidentally damage our phones. It happens. Now Straight Talk Wireless's new Platinum Unlimited plan includes phone protection, just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, data, and more. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
And after gaining 7 yards on the first play, Joe Burrow is down. And he's grabbing his left knee, and he's in pain.
Oh, God.
This is probably the worst-case scenario for the Cincinnati Bengals this year. And now you've got to call the 2020 season a failure.
Biggest nightmare for Bengals fans, an injury to rookie quarterback Joe Burrow.
Now your rebuild is set back even longer. There's no other way to put it. This was the worst thing that could have happened to the franchise.
That was on ESPN 1530. It's really a shame because I think most of you know Joe Burrow is out to a historic start, one of the best starts for a rookie quarterback in the modern era, at least throwing the ball. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests appear on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line, including the front office insider, Mike Tannenbaum. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Let's hear straight from Zach Taylor on some of the criticism after the game yesterday that Joe Burrow was done in by his offensive line, ramshackle.
You know, people keep talking about the offensive line without seemingly watching the film from the last 4 weeks. And so, again, those guys have done a good job. It's been a revolving door of players. They're doing a great job. Joe's done a good job moving us down the field. And we felt like we were making a lot of progress over the last 5 weeks. And we're not going to apologize for any of that.
Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. Let's head right to Mr. Tannenbaum, or Mr. T, as Mr. T, as Key calls him. Good morning, Mike. All right, first things first, you heard what Zach Taylor said about the offensive line. Can't blame the interior front. Many people are. Feels like the same thing happened to Carson Palmer about 15 years ago. He's going to join us at 9 a.m. Eastern. How much blame is on the line for the loss of Burrow?
Absolutely. This all goes back to the Cincinnati Bengal organization, guys. We've talked about this for months. It goes back to releasing Andy Dalton unnecessarily. In all the years when you have a veteran quarterback who's smart and experienced like Andy Dalton, hold on to him. No offseason program, no OTAs, no training camp. Put Joe Burrow in the best position to be successful for the next 10 years, not the first 10 games. And it's unfortunate that he got hurt. It's tragic. Joe Burrow has a great future, but this is a self-inflicted wound by the Cincinnati Bengal organization. They didn't need to do this and put him in harm's way. They could have brought him along slowly. And I've worked with Zach Taylor. I like Zach Taylor. He's a good head coach, and I disagree with him because their offensive line, when you look at the 32 teams, is way below average. So they may have been improving, but this is an unfortunate circumstance for him and Joe Burrow.
Mike, yesterday we watched the Saints take the Atlanta Falcons down and to the woodshed, I would say, and do something bad to them. What did you make of the decision to go with Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston?
Yeah, Key, I thought it was the only decision, considering that Taysom Hill had been there for a number of years. Jameis Winston had just gotten there this offseason, and again, he was the third-string quarterback, so he probably had very few reps. I was really impressed by Taysom Hill. I thought he had good confidence, good poise. I thought he had good vision. 5 different receivers caught passes. And Key, you know, when there's a great receiver, usually you're going to lock in just to somebody like a Keyshawn Johnson or Michael Thomas. But Taysom Hill distributed the ball. And you know what's really remarkable? As productive as they were in offense, Alvin Kamara didn't have a catch. So if I'm sitting there and I'm Sean Payton, I know there's actually room to grow with Taysom Hill, which is really exciting. And how about this? The New Orleans Saints are 6-0 in the last 2 years without Drew Brees.
Mike, whose side are you on here? Keyshawn says that the Eagles need to stay with Carson Wentz. I'm a huge believer they need to go with Jalen Hurts. Whose side are you on?
Yeah, Jay, well, unfortunately, I'm with Key. What's really remarkable about Carson Wentz when I watch him is he really lacks confidence. You know, that pick six, the reason that happened, guys, is he didn't trust his eyes or his progression. He had a receiver down the seam wide open earlier in the play. And for a guy that's been as successful as he's been, he's not playing with any confidence. He's 29th in the NFL in completion percentage, which is remarkable for somebody of his ability. So I think right now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Eagles are in first place in the NFC East. I think you stay with him, but boy, I think that leash gets shorter and shorter each week.
Is it just because of the money, Mike? Is it just because of the contract?
I don't think so, Jay Will. I think this is a guy that's played at a really high level in the NFL. I think Jalen Hurts is an intriguing player, but we just got done talking about Joe Burrow. Bring Hurts along slowly. There is no rush, and when he plays well, he gives you the best chance to win. If I was them, I would be doing a complete autopsy of how did we get here? Is it the offensive line injuries? Is it the skill players? Did we make a mistake? We could have drafted Justin Jefferson, who's doing great in Minnesota. We took Jalen Reagor. So how did we get here? And I would put my efforts and energy into solving that if I was the Eagles.
Mike, you talk about rush. You're talking about this with these quarterbacks. Your old team, the Miami Dolphins, seem to have rushed Tua to get out on the field. Now, he's been playing great. He didn't play so great yesterday. He was benched. What do you make of that, although it was late in the game?
Yeah, and I think context here is important. They've won 5 in a row. And I think one of the things that's been impressive about Coach Flores is the standard is the standard, right? They signed Jordan Howard to a big contract in the offseason. That didn't work out, and they moved on from him. And I think the message they sent yesterday was, look, Tua, you've played well. Not great, but you've played well. You deserve to start. He wasn't playing well yesterday. I think the rush impacted him. And in fairness, Vic Fangio knows how to rush the passer. So that Bronco pass rush, even without Von Miller, has been productive. And I think he said, you know what, in this 2-minute drill, Ryan Fitzpatrick's been magical in the past. He may give us the best chance. And I know that may hurt Tua's confidence short term, but it sends the right message to the team, which is I'm going to treat everybody the same, everyone consistently, and he pulled them. And it's interesting, going back to Jay Will's point, which is you look at Doug Peterson, he did do that